Hey everybody, Aaron Cowan, Sage Dynamics. This week's questions answered video, the question is, what do I think about reloaded ammunition for practice, for training, and for self-defense? So there's certainly two categories for that, for practice, training, and for self-defense. And then of course, what I consider two categories being handgun ammunition and then rifle ammunition. I see a lot of reloaded ammunition come through classes. Pretty much every major brand that's out there that you see on Instagram or the internet or that's sold through your favorite retailer. As far as training and practice goes, in regards to handgun ammunition, is the savings going to be significant enough to justify using an ammunition source from maybe a questionable source versus some of the better known companies that reload ammunition like Freedom or Nevada? I don't see a significant issue so long as it's a reputable source and it's someone who the company's well established. It's not just some random gun show guy just selling, literally Ziploc bags full of 100 loose rounds or 200 loose rounds or whatever his deal is. Is the cost savings significant enough to take that risk when it comes to your personal safety and of course your firearm? Because if that ammunition is double charged or loaded improperly or any other number of factors that go into creating an inherently dangerous cartridge through ignorance or stupidity when it comes to loading it, can cause significant damage to your firearm, yourself, and those around you. So as long as it's from an established manufacturer or remanufacturer, if you will, I don't have a really big problem with it when it comes to training or practice for handgun ammunition. That said, even ammunition from those larger companies that do a lot of remanufactured ammunition, that's like their main thing. They're very well known. They're big in social media. They're big on the internet. They're carried by a lot of ammunition retailers. Even those guys, I see their ammunition fail more often, relatively speaking now, more often than I see failures in once manufactured or new ammunition that you see from your major ammunition manufacturers. That doesn't mean it's a bad thing, because in practice and in training, having the occasional round fail to fire gives me a legitimate, honest to God, immediate malfunction that I have to clear and work through. And that's good as far as a training and practice value is concerned. Now, still speaking about handguns, there are some remanufactured self-defense ammunitions out there, which I think is a horrible idea. Mainly because it's not stacking the odds in your favor. Self-defense ammunition first should be not in a brass case. There's a lot of reasons for that go back to revolvers. If you think about brass casings in a revolver, if you've ever fired a revolver with brass ammunition and you went to empty the cylinder and kind of hit it, the brass sticks because it expands, whereas your nickel ammunition doesn't. And that's the reason that one of the reasons that nickel ammunition was popular as self-defense ammo for revolvers, and that carried over into some automatics, because you get to clear malfunctions so much easier with nickel ammunition versus brass ammunition. So if someone was selling a brass case self-defense round, I'm not into it. I'm not necessarily going to trust my life to that round. What are the odds? It's not the odds, it's the stakes. So when it comes to self-defense ammunition that's reloaded, I'm just not going to take the chance, because one, yes, it is more expensive, but are you going to shoot as much of it? So even if a box is $24, $25, $26, even if it's $30, even if it's $100, I'm going to buy it, and it's going to be my self-defense ammunition for an indeterminate amount of time until it's been loaded for a while. I'm just not comfortable with it, however long that is, and then I need to cycle through that ammunition and replace it with new ammunition. The investment is worth it versus trying to save a little bit of money when it comes to self-defense. Not something I'm going to do. Save a little bit of money on handgun ammunition when it comes to the range, sure, but when it comes to self-defense, it's just not a risk I'm willing to take. Now, reloaded ammunition for rifles, I'm not going to take the risk at all. And I understand rifle ammunition is generally more expensive than handgun ammunition, even when we're talking about range ammo. But I just do not trust and have never trusted reloaded ammunition for rifles, because there's a higher pressure curve there, and the failures can be far more catastrophic. Now, again, this is my opinion. The question was asked to me, so I'm answering it from my personal experience. Again, I see a lot of reloaded ammunition come through rifle classes from some of the bigger name companies that do remanufactured ammunition. And for the most part, it malfunctions just like the handgun ammunition. Relatively speaking, it does malfunction more than new manufactured ammo. And again, and that's just my opinion. I'm going to say that no, I'm not going to use reloaded rifle ammunition at all. I'm going to go ahead and spend the extra 30, 40, 50, 60 bucks per whatever to get brand new, never fired ammunition. or never fired brass, never fired whatever. Now getting into self-defense, if the no for training is there, the no for practice is there, then obviously my answer is no for self-defense as well. Absolutely not. There's just no way I'm going to trust remanufactured ammunition for self-defense at all. Handgun or rifle, even more emphatically with the rifle side of things, because I wouldn't use remanufactured rifle ammo at all under any circumstances. And again, I see it a lot. Yet to see a gun blow up. So you're thinking, well, okay, well, what's the big deal? Well, that's just my sample size. I see between 300 to 600 students a year, depending on what courses I offer that year, depending on how many contract classes I do. So I've got a pretty decent sample size, but that's nowhere near the same sample size as how many people shoot every single weekend in the United States. So it seems like at least once a weekend or at least once a week you hear about or you see photos from a gun blowing up, or you see somebody talking about how their ammunition, they got this reloaded ammunition from X source and they had consistent problems with it. So I'm just not going to take those chances. Can you have problems with new manufactured ammunition? Yeah, you can, but it's less likely. And when it comes to self-defense ammunition, as long as you take special care of your ammunition, which I'm going to do a video on that as well, you're not going to have a significant issue, and you shouldn't run into the same problems that you can run into with remanufactured ammo. So I hope that answers the question. Again, for pistol, go ahead and, if you want to save that extra 30, 40 bucks, then obviously, budgets are a thing. That's something to do. But if you keep your eyes open and buy ammo, not necessarily when you need it, but when you can afford it. If I see a really good deal on ammunition, even if I'm like, I've got 1,000 rounds, I'm good right now. I'm going to go ahead and buy it anyway because I know I'm going to shoot it. So maybe start thinking about your budgeting in that way as well, and that'll definitely help you avoid potential catastrophes with remanufactured ammunition, especially for rifles. I'm Eric Allen with Sage Dynamics. Trade accordingly.